Hello there. The energy crisis and the costs of the corona pandemic are making themselves felt in the British Treasury, and not to mention Brexit. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is now preparing the country for high taxes. Companies, especially oil and gas companies, will now have to pay a higher windfall tax. According to a report, the new British government wants to significantly expand its windfall tax for oil and gas companies. This is expected to increase from 25 to 30%. That's what the Times reported on Thursday, after Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and Chancellor of the Exchequer, Finance Minister Jeremy Hunt, had previously agreed on the details of the budget plan expected in mid-November. A windfall tax is an additional tax on greatly increased corporate profits. In addition, the windfall tax should be fixed by 2028 instead of 2026 and will also affect electricity producers in the future, it said. According to the Times, the government estimates that this will result in tax revenues of around £40 billion over the next 5 years, though. Companies like Shell and BP have recently posted billions in surpluses and are seen as the winners of this crisis. Sunak introduced the windfall tax when he was Chancellor of the Exchequer under ex-Prime Minister Johnson. Now his government is preparing not only companies but also private individuals for higher taxes. The enormous expenditure due to the corona pandemic and Brexit and massively increased energy prices could not be counter-financed by cuts in other areas alone. That at least was said recently. Business sentiment in the UK also fell to its lowest level in 21 months in October. S&P Global's Purchasing Managers Index fell 0.9 points month-on-month to 48.2 points. That's what market researchers said on Thursday in London, according to a second estimate. This is the lowest level since January 2021. However, the decline was less severe than initially determined. Economists had expected an average of 47.2 points to confirm the initial estimate. The service sector indicator fell by 1.2 points to 48.8 points. Here too, the decline was less pronounced than initially determined, but still a decline. In industry, the indicator fell to 46.2 points according to Tuesday's data. All indicators are thus below the growth threshold of 50 points. Stubbornly high inflation, rising borrowing costs and concerns about the UK's economic outlook contributed to lower business optimism in October, commented Tim Moore, Director of Economics at S&P Global Market Intelligence. A number of companies note that political uncertainty and rising borrowing costs have led to greater risk aversion among customers. You may remember the video I made on Liz Truss, King Charles and the climate change conference, so I have to give you an update there as well. Because the new British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak would have allowed King Charles to travel to Egypt for the UN climate conference COP27. This was indicated by a spokeswoman for the London seat of government in Downing Street. The British monarch always acts in agreement with the British government. Charles, who has been an advocate of climate change for many years, cancelled his attendance at this month's summit in Egypt on the advice of Sunak's predecessor, Liz Truss. Unlike former Prime Minister Boris Johnson, Truss had removed the issue of climate and environmental protection from her agenda. Sunak, who was put in office by his group after Truss' dramatic resignation last week, 2 weeks ago now, initially announced that he would also stay away from the conference before making a U-turn on Wednesday. The government spokeswoman emphasized that it was now too late for the king to participate. That is logistically not feasible. Government and palace are therefore in agreement that Charles III won't be there. Yeah, they waited long enough to block that. And by the way, from now on there will be another Outside Views video every day. You can find it on the Outside Views Facebook page and the Outside Views Instagram and on TikTok. I'm not allowed to post this video on YouTube as well because of the guidelines here, so that video will only be on the other 3 platforms. And I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.